Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talks. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is Thursday morning. I got an awesome video planned out for you guys today, and I really think y'all are going to like it. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the rising prices in precious metals, such as gold and silver. The reason I want to talk about this is because it's kind of shocking how quick the prices are moving higher. And when I show you some of this stuff, you guys are kind of going to be shocked. And if you've been following this for a while, then you probably won't be as shocked, but you might be a little shocked to see how quick it has jumped in just the last 2 weeks. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. If you enjoyed today's video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. It helps me more than you know. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. And if you're not subscribed, please do the ultimate thing. Take a quick minute, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out. And a special thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you're not a member and you've considered, it is a great opportunity. It is only $1.99 to become a member of the channel. Plus, your messages, whenever you write comments, they go straight to my phone. And on top of that, you have a chance to win a free ounce of silver every month. It's a great opportunity, and it's really for a great cause, because we are spreading the word on precious metals and trying to make more people aware of what's going on, because it is interesting. And I firmly believe that if you're invested in precious metals, you are doing the right thing for yourself. You're doing the right thing for your children. And it may not seem like it quite at first. However, once you realize what's happening to the US dollar, what's happening to all fiat currencies of the world, you start to see what's really happening. And we are literally being cheated out of our time, our energy, our goods and services, and people don't even realize what's happening. And so we're going to talk a little bit too about that. So if you enjoyed today's video, like I said, hit that thumbs up. And with that being said, let's get started real quick and just check what the prices are right now. So right now we have silver trading at $33.76, up again today as prices are continuing to go higher. We also have gold continuing to surprise people. I ain't going to lie. It's kind of a shocker. When you look at gold right now, it's at $3,048. I started to say $30.48. People are like, I wish. We've got it at $3,048.90. And here's the thing. We've been seeing these lows and these highs. We're seeing higher highs, higher lows, and we're continuing to just see the price go up. Earlier, I was watching it, and I was like, are you kidding me? It's $3,057, and that's just a spot price. That's not physical what you can buy it for. So the reason I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with precious metals, specifically today, is because 2 weeks ago, I started getting overwhelmed with comments, and you guys know how big I am on replying back to people's comments. I try to read every single comment. Obviously, if you're a member of the channel, your comments come straight to my phone, so I kind of keep up with those the most. But then I also fall back and try to comment on every single comment. And the ones that fall behind, I finally got to where, I'm combing through 2 weeks ago comments, and I start seeing a trend of comments about how, oh, hey, I bought the dip, I bought at this. Now, some of y'all remember I did a video 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey, what did you pick up during the dip? This is it. And we seen silver go all the way, well, we seen silver and gold both plunge down in price. But we seen silver, first of all, it went all the way down to $30 and like 80 something cents. And that was only 2 weeks ago. Think about that for a minute. 2 weeks ago, we were at less than $31. And here we are today at almost $34. In fact, we hit $34 recently. And, we're trickling right around, bouncing up and down right around that area. But to think that it's gone up as much as it has in just 2 weeks really makes you wonder what is going on with silver. Are people waking up? Are the powers that be starting to stack it themselves? There's a ton of short positions that are getting cleared out. And I've told you this time and time again, as the financial quarters come to an end, a lot of short positions have to be cleared. And so usually you see a certain amount of beat down in the price so they can clear out the shorts, and then all of a sudden you see it just skyrocket right back up. Now, yes, in 2 weeks we've seen a big jump, but when you zoom out a little bit more, we'll say 6 months, you start to see, or even a year really, you start to see that it's continuing to go up in an upward direction. Obviously, that's what I mean by you're seeing higher highs and higher lows. You look at the low here and the low here, you see how they're getting higher, and then the low here, the low here, the low here, and you're seeing the highs higher each time. Now, here we are about ready to continue, in my opinion, move even higher. I would not be surprised to see us break $35 real soon. And I think that could trigger something in people's mind about $35 because there's not a lot of people trying to sell their silver now. People are starting to get, if you need money, well, obviously, I understand. People need money. Times are getting tough, and maybe they might have to sell. But in the past, what we've seen is a lot of times people will set up paper trades. They'll buy at this price, they'll sell at that price. And as we enter new higher territory, there's not going to be much resistance of selling to dump, people trying to dump their silver at these higher prices because they have to. A lot more people are starting to buy, and these short positions, I mean, when people borrow ounces of silver, put it on the market to beat the price down, eventually they have to get those ounces back, which means they've got to buy them back to give them back to the person they borrowed from, the company they borrowed from. And as you start to see that, you see the price continuing to go even higher. A lot of people, I believe, can't even fathom what is about ready to happen in the price of silver. And gold is continuing to do really well. I'll be honest. I talk a lot about silver because it's amazing what we're seeing in silver. And, I mean, right now, a lot of that is being shadowed a little bit by gold. When I did a survey recently, I was shocked to see 60% of the subscribers that commented gold or silver chose gold. 40% chose silver. First of all, both metals are precious metals. Both metals are monetary metals. The advantage of silver, though, is silver is not just a monetary metal. We waste a lot of silver in industrial demand. We use it in cell phones. We use it in computers. We use it in pretty much everything in your day-to-day life. Silver has some impact on your life, and people don't realize it. When it comes to gold, if they do happen to use gold in something, a lot of times they will try to recover that gold. But because of the price of silver being as cheap as it is, it's almost not worth trying to recoup that tiny, tiny little bit. I mean, for those of you guys that maybe stack gold and stack silver, when you look at a piece of gold, I want you to think what a good amount of gold is for a good amount to me would be, at least at a bare minimum, you need, enough to at least go buy something to eat. Go out to dinner, take a date to a movie, take your spouse to a movie, whatever the case may be, have dinner. What does that take? It's going to take you a few ounces of silver in terms of value. But with gold, I mean, literally a gram of gold and y'all can have a good night. Now, obviously, I know if you're living in New York City or California somewhere, then that's probably not going to apply. But on average, you can have a nice date for $100. And a gram of gold essentially is going to cost you pretty much $100. And a gram of gold, once you hold a gram of gold and you look at it, you're just like almost speechless how tiny that little gram of gold is. I'll be honest, I don't even like grams of gold because they're so tiny. They're easy to misplace. I had a couple in my time. I might have one in my collection right now in my Sound Money wallet, which is just a little kind of flip wallet. Looks almost like a business card holder. I showed it in another video, and it's got 23 grams of silver, 1 gram of gold, and it's just sitting there, But it's so easy to lose this. I told you guys a story about one of my friends that he is a high-up manager at a company, and he went to pick up a bunch of change one day from the bank. And the teller asked him, she's like, hey, you need a box and to put all that in, or a bag or something? He goes, yeah, just a box, whatever. So she went and grabbed the box. The box was a box that someone had brought in a bunch of change. He's sitting in his office. He's counting out the change. He's putting it in the safe. And then he goes to rip up the box to put it in the little office trash can. And what do you think falls out on the floor? A little gram of gold that was in a special little envelope, little square flip, 2x2, taped in there. And it was from a big bullion company. Now, if I say the name of the company, someone's going to be like, oh, it's a sponsored ad. It's not a sponsored ad. I'm not even going to say the name of the company, but you know what I'm talking about. Those little 2x2 flips, little gram of gold in there, and it just fell out of the box like it was trash. He knew right off. He is someone in my group that I do a lot of trading with, that I help out, and he called me. He took a picture of it. He called me, sent it to me, and said, hey, is this real? I said, yeah, it's real. It's a gram of gold, bro. I have no doubt in my mind it's real. I said, you just bought it? He said, no. And then he told me the story, and I was like, wow. He goes, would you be interested in trading it for some silver? I don't have any use for it. I'm not really a gold stacker. Now, after that, I ended up trading with him. And it didn't take long before he's like, man, that kept going up in value, didn't it? I said, yeah, gold is on the move, and it's on the move fast. And then he started wanting to collect small gold coins, starting out with the little 1/10 ounce gold eagles. You know, that's 1/10 ounce, in my opinion, is my favorite coin. Not necessarily a gold eagle. I had a bunch of comments. I guess I said something in a video, and a lot of people commented, does he not like gold eagles? I love gold eagles. The problem I have with an American gold eagle is the premiums are higher. To me, a 1/10 ounce gold eagle is no different in my mind than a 1/10 ounce gold Britannia, a 1/10 ounce gold coat of arms, a 1/10 ounce gold maple leaf. The only difference is who made it and popularity. But when times get tough, and gold goes to its true value and silver goes to its true value, which we're going to get to true value in just a second here. I don't think people understand. An ounce of gold is an ounce of gold. A piece of gold is a piece of gold. All that really matters is the gold. And I'm convinced that as prices continue to climb on both gold and silver, people are going to eventually realize it, and true value is going to come into play. Now, the question of true value, is there manipulation? You know, we've talked about that numerous times. Clearly, there is a certain amount of manipulation on gold and silver. However, silver at least, well, we'll say gold first. Gold at least is at an all-time high. There's no disputing that gold is at an all-time high. You see it on the charts. Every day, we are seeing new all-time highs in the price of gold. Silver, on the other hand, is just, we're not even close to the all-time high. It's comical. We're still $16 roughly off from the all-time high. Now, I know when you think of $16, as you're sitting here looking at the gold price, $16 doesn't seem like a lot in terms of $3,044. But when you look at the silver price, $16 basically means we need to see a 50% climb in silver to equal the all-time high. Now, silver is great. We're really close right now to a 13-year high. And it's 13 years because if you go back much further, that's when we seen that last huge uptick where it went all the way to 50. Well, what happened when it went to 50 was pretty much chaos. People were draining their bank accounts because banks were in trouble. And here's the thing. Banks today are still in trouble. A lot of people don't talk about it. You don't hear about it. But let's be honest. Banks are still in trouble. There's only a certain amount of insurance on these banks. And if more than a certain amount of banks decide or happen to go under, there's not enough insurance to make right for everybody. And they would go, because of the Dodd-Frank Act, into a, you just bailed out the bank, you're now a shareholder in the bank. We already hold your money. And anybody that doubts something like that can happen doesn't really have to look in too many countries to see what has happened in Lebanon and Cyprus, where they're putting restrictions. Oh, you can only take out this much money a day because people were running the banks. They were trying to drain everything they had. We've seen that back before, and that's why silver and gold both skyrocketed. That's why silver went to $50, gold went to $2,000, which at the time was an all-time high on gold, and a lot of people sold their gold. It was kind of comical, in my opinion, to see that people sold their gold up here, and what happened? We've seen the price come down. That's selling, a certain amount of selling, but you know what? What happened to the gold? Someone is always going to pick it up. And that's exactly what happened. People continued to pick it up. And as it got closer to 2000, there was a smaller portion of people that had gold and that said, man, we're at 2000 again. I ain't going all the way back to $999, $1,000. And so they started selling it. But here's the thing. There was less people selling it. And once those weak hands sold, it skyrocketed again. And that's why we're at $3,000 and essentially $3,050. Less people today are holding gold that either have to sell it or are willing to sell it. I always get asked, would I sell my gold? Would I sell my silver? No. Unless I need something, I'm not selling. Now, do I help people pick up stuff and is that considered selling? I mean, if I pick up an ounce of silver at $37, $40, whatever the case may be, and hey, so-and-so, my buddy, he's trying to get some of these, I might pass that off to him for the same price I paid. If he wants to buy me lunch or something, to me, that's cool. But overall, as a whole, am I selling my position? Not a chance. Unless there's something I need. A nice piece of land. I read a comment yesterday. Somebody had sold, I think it said, a tube of gold eagles for a piece of land, or gold maples. But I think there was a little bit of a typo there, and it said, because it said good eagles, but sometimes it had to be, I'm guessing, a typo, because who knows. But needless to say, people will sell their gold for big purchases. I would sell for a nice piece of land. That's one of my dreams, is to get a nice acreage piece of land. I can hunt on it. I can do whatever I want on it. And I have a nice stream running through it. I kind of have a fascination with streams. I love water and just sitting there and watching the water and listening to it. It's quiet. It's meditating. And it takes your mind off of every day what's going on. Not to mention you could get into, setting up a little windmill, water mill, whatever they call them. There's a lot of little things you can do once you have a stream going through your property. So I want people to understand the price is rising. And here's the thing. If we've seen that much of a big jump in just the last 2 weeks, I would expect that there's more jumps to come. Now, someone out there might say, didn't you say you were hoping for a pullback? Yes, I did say that. And yes, I am still hoping for a little bit of a pullback before the end of the month. Doesn't mean it will happen. Did we see a nice pullback 2 weeks ago? Yes. When I look at the trend, we're continuing to go higher. I would not be surprised to see a pullback come back around this level. $32 maybe. $32 flat. Are we going to see $30 and change again? No. Could we see $32 in a quick drop before the end of the month? It's possible, but right after that, I'm convinced that it's going to shoot up a whole lot higher. Like I said, we're seeing higher highs when you zoom out, and we're seeing higher lows. And that's kind of what I was trying to show you on this chart right here. So you see it's continuing to go higher. I would not be surprised even see it go a little bit higher before the end of the month and then see the pullback. But once the new month comes, that's it. We're in the second financial quarter. That's game over. Not game over in terms of you won't be able to buy silver, but I'm convinced that we're going to see another upward take in the next financial quarter. Our best chances of pullbacks have always been at either the Fed meetings, because I mean, let's be honest. If they had cut interest rates today, we probably would have seen gold and silver jump because they essentially devalued the dollar in terms of easy money. More people would be willing to gamble because interest rates would be coming down. However, we did not see that, and that's kind of good. I'm convinced that that's what kept metals kind of right around this area. And we're going to see how this is going to play out still in another week. We got roughly, 10 days before the end of the month. And who knows? I'm still hoping we might see a little bit of a drop. But if you all of a sudden see $32, don't be expecting it to go much lower. I will definitely be taking action and calling up a few of my sources and trying to put another good order in. I actually just put a really good order in yesterday with one company, and I'm almost tempted to let them know, hey, if you can put an order together that's, at a good price, and I don't even care what they are. If it's silver, I really don't care. Some people, they like specific silver. They like these rounds. They like them rounds. I like cheap silver because at the end of the day, silver is silver. Now, some of the people that I help out, they understand that. But the majority of the people that I help out and work with, they like fancy silver. Even though I tell them ounces are what counts, they think, oh, I want something cool that no one else is going to have. If a coin is limited, some of y'all seen the pandas that I showed a little while back. Those were kind of limited. They were certified. They were pretty. A lot of people like those. I haven't done nothing with them yet. I will probably keep them for my personal collection for the time being. And it was a great deal. Gold is continuing to go higher and higher along with silver. But ounces are what matters. How many ounces you can get under your belt. If things really got hectic and the dollar really had a massive debasement overnight, collectability will not matter. It's just going to matter how many ounces you have. That's what's going to be the key. And so we'll see how this plays out. I'm curious to see, and I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when they see how quick and how fast gold and silver can go up. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. We'll take actually a quick look what's happening with the DXY. DXY sitting at 103.5 right now at the time of shooting this video. We didn't see much of a rally behind this today like I thought we might have with the Fed meeting. But the Fed meeting wasn't trying to defend itself today. It didn't look like. It looked like they just came out and said, we ain't cutting rates, and that's the end of it. We'll cut rates later in the year, at least 2 more times roughly. And that was it. There was no battle, no argument. Really, I kind of thought in the back of my mind, I thought maybe they would cut them. But on the flip side, with everything going on between Powell and Trump, there was a lot of back and forth, so I didn't think they would on that note. But I kind of thought they would, but they couldn't because they're not going to make it look like Trump told them what to do. Taking a quick look at Bitcoin, we got Bitcoin at this moment trading at 85,666, down a little bit. When you zoom out on Bitcoin, like I said, Bitcoin not looking good, down 12% in the last month. But I know some people out there are still firm on Bitcoin, and a lot of people have already made up their mind on Bitcoin, gold, silver, stock market. The stock market is an interesting one because a lot of people are tied in. They can't afford to get out because they're not allowed to without paying big taxes. I know someone that cashed out their 401k recently and took a pretty big tax hit. And when you look at like the Dow Jones down 5% in just the last month, and the NASDAQ down 11% in just the last month, a lot of stuff is going down. It almost feels like it's a controlled demolition of everything around us. But you can't control demolition gold. No matter how much you manipulate gold and silver, it's getting harder and harder to do because when they beat down these prices, more people start stacking. More people buy more of it. And it's not just the little people. Even big companies that need it for windmills or solar panels or whatever the case may be, they're stacking because they realize the price is going to go higher. And that's when you realize, hey, this could be it. We are getting to that point. So with that being said, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure you hit that thumbs up. A lot of people never get to hit the thumbs up. They always forget, or they're watching on TV, or they're watching on a device where they just can't do it. Help me out by hitting that thumbs up, and be sure to check out some of these other great videos. I put up videos every day and a lot of cool stuff. Actually, that's the little gram of gold right here that I was talking about. It's right there in the middle of that little Sound Money wallet. I ended up picking that up off someone. I don't know why I bought it. It just, something drew me to it. I thought it was cool, and I was like, if anything, it might make a good gift for a loved one or something. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I paid a little bit of a higher premium, but it was pretty cool. And a lot of great videos to watch and check out. So please take the time, check out some of these other great videos. If you have a question, leave it in the comments. Like I said, I do try to reply to everything. Sometimes it just takes a little longer, but if you're a member of the channel, it goes straight to my phone, and I pretty much always see them. That's a given. So with that being said, take care, everybody, and have a great day. It's definitely almost the weekend. It's going to be exciting. Take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.